Most men are living on autopilot. They don't even know it. They think they're chasing a dream, but really, they're just following a script they never wrote. And here's the brutal part. 99% of them will die without ever breaking free. But here's the key, and if you find it, everything changes. It's not fame, it's not money, it's something far more rare. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to get it. Look, I'm not here to feed you recycled self-help quotes you've already heard on Instagram. I'm here because I wasted years thinking I knew what mattered, until I realized I was building my life on sand. You can have the perfect body, the perfect relationship, and the perfect bank account, and still feel like something is missing. I've seen men hit every goal society tells them to hit, only to stare at the ceiling at night and wonder why they feel hollow. This video is about that thing that fills that gap. The thing that makes you wake up knowing you're living your life, not someone else's. And if you stay until the end, I'll give you a challenge that, if you take it, will separate you from almost every man you know. A few years ago, I was sitting across a guy I used to look up to. On paper, he had it all. The kind of life most people would kill for. But halfway through our coffee, he leaned in and said, "I don't know how I got here. I just kept doing what I thought I was supposed to do. And now I feel trapped in my own life." That hit me, because deep down, I knew I was headed in the same direction. Living by default, not by design. The key to a life 99% of men will never have is full ownership of your decisions. Sounds simple, right? But here is the problem. Most men never make decisions purely for themselves. They make them to avoid disapproval, to fit in, to not look stupid. They live in reaction to the world instead of building their own. And when you do that for years, your life becomes a museum of other people's expectations. Here's a harsh truth. Every time you choose the safer, more socially acceptable path or the one you really want, you trade a piece of your life for comfort. And comfort is a slow killer. And that's why most men you know are not living, they're coasting. And they'll coast until something breaks. Their health, their marriage, or their inner will to keep going. Think about the last big decision you made. Did you choose it because it was yours, or because it was the smart thing everyone told you to do? When I started creating online, I was terrified. Not because I didn't believe in what I was making, but because I knew people would judge me. I almost didn't post my first video because I was afraid of being seen trying and still failing. But here's the twist. Once I took ownership, it stopped mattering what they thought. Because I wasn't playing their game anymore. I was building mine. Another truth most men can't handle. Nobody's coming to save you. Not your parents, not your friends, not your government, not your boss. If you don't design your life, someone else will, and you probably won't like the design. Here's why full ownership is an unfair advantage. When you own your decisions, you own your failures too. And most men can't handle failure without blaming someone else. That's why they never grow. But the man who can say, "Yeah, I messed up, that was my call, and I'll make a better one next time," is unstoppable. Because every mistake makes him sharper, not smaller. Here's a small shift that changes everything. Before every major choice, ask yourself, if nobody was watching and there was no one to impress or disappoint, what would I choose? When you start living by that filter, your life stops being a performance. It becomes yours. And that's when you start moving into the 1%. Not the 1% richest, but the 1% who are truly free. Remember that guy from the coffee shop? He told me he wished he could go back and just make one decision differently. Not because it would have made him richer or more famous, but because it would have made him happier. One choice that was truly his. That's when I promised myself, I'm not waiting until I'm 60 to realize I've been living someone else's life. So here is your challenge. Pick one arena of your life. It could be work, relationship, or your health. And make one decision this week that is 100% yours. Not to please, not to avoid judgment, not to play it safe, but because it's what you truly want. And watch how even one act of full ownership shifts the way you see yourself. Because the key isn't money, status, or luck. It's about owning your life, or someone else will.